I heard nothing but good things about Werewolves Within, but I was very worried when I sat down to watch it because I saw this logo. And I thought, I didn't know this was based on a video game, much less a video game by Ubisoft. You see, Ubisoft is known for three main things: Assassin's Creed, its corporate leadership covering up sexual assault within the company for years, and Rayman. So I thought, oh boy, I don't want to end up recommending a movie produced by Ubisoft. I'm gonna look like a real cretin if I do that. Don't worry, I'm not gonna have that problem. Oh, what's that? My phone is ringing. Well, this is quite unusual, but I suppose I'll answer it live on video. Leftist Soy Boy.
Mildred, you gotta help me. I'm looking for a mattress that's memory foam, but gets shipped in a little box anywhere in the continental United States or Canada.
I don't know, dude. There's a lot of those companies. Google it. It wants me to solve all his problems. Werewolves Within, the video game, is a social deduction game a la Mafia played in VR. I was loosely aware of it. I've never played it myself, but I've played 1,000 games like it. Think basically Among Us, but with werewolves, so in theory, better, but in practice, published by Ubisoft, so probably monetized up the patoot. The movie translates that by making you feel like you're playing a guessing game with a group of strangers you don't like, who are all broad stereotypes, but somehow also all sound the same, like they're all written in the same voice. If you wanted to see an improv troupe make a horror comedy, this is the movie for you because it's shot like a comedy. Oh boy, does it look like a comedy, and all the characters act like people would in a comedy, but there aren't any jokes. There are spaces where jokes could go, like the movie will occasionally stop and leave room for a joke, but it seems like nobody got around to actually writing the jokes and putting the jokes in the movie. In the town of Beaverfield, there is political tension about whether or not to build an oil and gas pipeline. Rich tycoon Sam Parker is trying to buy the rights from townsfolk to build on their land, with them about evenly split between people who want to take the money and people who don't. They don't want to build the pipeline for no particular reason other than some vague, hand-wavy environmentalism. Now, I'm not a fan of building pipelines, but for something that is typically protested in the real world for a variety of entirely legitimate reasons, it's a little strange that the movie doesn't really present a strong reason why anyone might oppose this fictional one. It's pretty weird to include an environmentalist character without giving her, like, a single line of dialogue to explain her opposition to this pipeline.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Ellis. Jane, I'm here to stop the pipeline.
A prominent environmentalist who's staying here with us.
Oh, it's kind of weird to make the main conflict of your movie an oil and gas pipeline and then not have any indigenous characters? So into this fraught situation comes Ranger Finn Wheeler, the meek and good-natured new forest ranger from out of town played by Sam Richardson. He flirts with the cutie pie mail carrier Cecily, gets threatened by a libertarian woodsman, and there are some other people in the movie. Look, I'll say this, you can't put Sam Richardson in a movie and expect him not to be funny. Obviously he's funny. The rest of the cast, and this is purely on the writing because there are some actors I recognize from other funnier things, just not getting it done. None of those characters work. Anyway, there's either a werewolf or a mass hysteria about a werewolf getting the townsfolk killed one by one. Who could it be? And also, why should we care? The movie will answer one of these questions. Werewolves Within is about political division and the ways that people can turn on one another based on ideological differences. The characters are all coded for various strains of American political thought, and when they get stressed out, they begin to turn on one another. A local couple are implied to be like MAGA Republicans, for example. Their sign is vandalized and they immediately blame Antifa.
Jiminy Christmas, hippies knocked down our sign again.
It's Antifa.
They call all their characters liberal snowflakes for not owning a gun, and it's kind of implied that the wife doesn't approve of two gay characters being married. Meanwhile, that gay couple themselves are portrayed as snobby millionaire elitists from the big city who use inclusive language but secretly look down on the rest of the town. Liberal coastal elites who think they're better than everybody else. You see, both sides are bad. All political issues, you see, have people that are bad on both sides of them. At about the halfway point, there's a scene that really lays it out all on the table. Finn gives an impassioned plea for the townsfolk to see each other's common humanity, to come together despite their superficial differences and be neighborly. The characters, of course, all failed to heed his warning and leave the safety of numbers to split up and be picked off one by one. You might notice something a little uncomfortable about all this. It kind of implies that all political opinions are of equal value, and that the real problem isn't what people believe, but rather whether or not they allow their beliefs to divide them, which is horseshit. Issues like whether or not to build a pipeline in your town, or whether or not people are allowed to get married, or whether or not you should have a gun, have material effects on people's lives. You can't agree to disagree on these things. Only one side can get what they want, and it is therefore incumbent on both sides to fight for what they want. Furthermore, on an issue like gay marriage in particular, you cannot appeal to respecting a community's shared humanity to justify tolerating someone else's bigotry. They either accept your right to marry who you please, or they are the one failing to respect your humanity. Likewise, to frame the entire movie around an oil and gas pipeline without presenting any real reason why someone might oppose one being built in their town betrays the cowardice at the center of this movie. The message is like, golly shucks, we should all be nice to one another despite what we believe, as though nobody believes things which might hurt others, as though it is never appropriate to be mad at someone based on their beliefs. In the climax of the movie, the main character literally gives a speech about how it's good to be nice. Gosh, way to take a stand, Werewolves Within. I agree, it is good to be nice. And I'm sorry, but it's a little bit difficult for me to swallow this pill right now, given that it seems like half of people have decided they don't want to help fight a global pandemic, killing millions, by taking a vaccine seemingly out of spite. Because, like, liberals are annoying. Okay. Seems like a bit of an overreaction. And maybe I could look past that wishy-washy centrist bullshit if the movie were either funny or scary, but it's neither. It's boring. What really surprised me was I checked the runtime after the movie. It was only an hour and a half. It felt a lot longer. Just hours of characters yelling at each other without ever having anything interesting to say. There's a character in this movie played by the guy who played Piper's brother in Orange is the New Black, the guy who taught Jason Biggs about edging. People don't talk enough about how much of Orange is the New Black Season 1 is concerned with Jason Biggs talking about edging. Anyway, that character is like, he's handsy. He's always trying to hug Cecily and it's uncomfortable. And later his hand gets bitten off by a werewolf, and Cecily remarks that it should have been both hands. Very woke feminist bae of you, Werewolves Within, but that message might ring a little less hollow if the film weren't produced by a company whose management covered up sexual abuse up to and including sexual assault for like a decade. Kind of a weird look to talk about how bad it is for men to be handsy while forking over cash to a company that protected sexual abuse like that, don't you think? I mean, maybe it's me, but it felt just a little bit performative. I probably also would have cut the jokey jokes when Cecily asks if Finn left his old job because he got caught touching someone.
I had an incident at work.
Did you touch someone?
No.
'Cause time's up. You too?
Yes, but I didn't touch anyone.
Maybe if your movie is produced by Ubisoft, you don't get to make those kind of jokes? Werewolves Within? Don't watch this movie. Fuck this movie. A dog dies in it. I'm contractually obligated to tell you that. But it shouldn't be able to upset you. Because don't watch this movie. And like, look, not even on a moral level. I'm just talking on a nuts and bolts, is this movie gonna entertain you level? It's not. I'd have rather spent that hour and a half Werewolves Without. I think I've earned your subscription. Today, I think I've earned it. Werewolves Without. Also, don't expect like werewolves in the movie. If you're going into it looking for some fun werewolf stuff, don't. There's none of that in there. I mean, here's a spoiler. Here's a spoiler, and this shouldn't be a fucking spoiler for a movie literally about werewolves. Yeah, there is a werewolf in it for like 2 minutes. The one thing I wanted was some werewolves. Where are the wolves, more like? The hits just keep coming.